Have you ever wondered why the most intelligent souls often look strange? Why some whisper to themselves as if in dialogue with the unseen? Why others cry over a broken idea as though mourning a friend, or apologize to an old chair as if it had feelings? The world calls it odd, eccentric, even mad. But what if these quirks are not flaws at all? What if they are signs, breadcrumbs left on the path of a deeper mind, hints of an intelligence that doesn't just think, but feels, absorbs, and transforms? This journey will take you through the labyrinth of these so-called weird traits. And by the end, you will see how they are not weaknesses, but gateways to clarity, creativity, and peace. Stay with me until the end, for we'll uncover not only the beauty of these traits, but also how you can embrace them in yourself and recognize them in others. If this resonates, breathe deeply for a moment and consider subscribing. This way, this path of reflection, self-discovery, and quiet awakening will always return to you. The whisper of talking to yourself. They told you only the insane mutter to themselves, but perhaps the real insanity is living without ever hearing your own voice. When you speak to yourself, you are not unraveling. You are weaving. Words spill into the air like threads, creating patterns the silent mind could never hold. This dialogue is not performance, not madness. It is communion. One part of you plays the wanderer, the other the guide. Together, they map the terrain of thought. Einstein was said to pace and murmur like a man chasing the sound of truth. Children unburdened by shame talk to their toys as though conversing with gods. Even athletes whisper strategies under their breath, summoning courage with syllables. Talking to oneself is less a flaw than an ancient art of grounding the mind. The world fears this because it exposes thought in motion. But if you listen closely, you'll notice that every sentence you whisper clarifies, every word untangles, every sound steadies the storm inside. It is debugging the soul, line by line. And so, when you find yourself speaking aloud, planning, confessing, dreaming, know this: you are not broken. You are giving your mind a voice to hear itself, to listen, to heal. But what if this empathy, this conversation, doesn't stop with yourself? What if your tenderness reaches even the objects around you? Empathy for objects. You bump a chair and whisper, "Sorry." You hold an old cup and hesitate to let it go, as though it had shared a lifetime with you. Some would laugh, but beneath it lies one of the strangest and most beautiful marks of intelligence: empathy spilling beyond its borders. This is anthropomorphism, the assigning of spirit to the spiritless. But is it only imagination? Or is it a quiet recognition that everything around us is not entirely inert? Indigenous traditions, poets, and mystics knew this well. The world is alive in ways science cannot measure. To the intelligent heart, even objects become companions. A pen is not just wood and ink, it is the midwife of your ideas. A car becomes more than steel, it becomes a witness to your journeys. And so we apologize, we name, we protect. Not because the object feels, but because we do. Far from childish, this trait shows a deep tenderness, the capacity to see the sacred in the ordinary. In a world obsessed with use and discard, to empathize with things is a quiet rebellion, a way of saying, nothing here is meaningless. But empathy often isolates. It awakens you to subtleties others cannot see, and suddenly you find yourself standing at the edges of belonging, the strange vantage point of the outsider. The outsider's gaze. You know the feeling. You enter a room, everyone laughs, but your body doesn't catch the rhythm. You watch interactions the way a scientist watches patterns in a lab, attentive, detached, searching. This is the paradox of intelligence. It gives you sight, but often at the price of belonging. To be an outsider is not just to be excluded. It is to live with one foot in the world and one foot observing it. You laugh a beat too late, question traditions others accept blindly, and quietly notice the small rules everyone else obeys without thinking. It can feel lonely, yes, but loneliness is not the full story. From the edges, you see more. The outsider is not consumed by the dance of conformity. Instead, you watch the choreography, noticing the invisible threads of culture, ego, habit. And here lies the gift. Distance becomes clarity. What others live without questioning, you dissect. What others worship, you examine. You become the cartographer of human behavior, mapping truths hidden beneath noise. Though it aches at times, this perspective often bursts the rarest insights. For it is not from the center of the circle that originality arises. It is from the fringe, where silence sharpens the eye. But what happens when the seeing does not stop at people and patterns, but dives into the invisible realm of values and ideas, where concepts feel as alive as flesh? Emotional bonds with abstract concepts. For many, words like justice, truth, beauty are mere decorations, philosophy for idle conversations. But for you, they are not decorations. They are living companions. When fairness is broken, your chest burns. When truth is twisted, your mind aches as if betrayed. Beauty, when glimpsed, moves you to tears. Abstract concepts are not abstractions at all. They are visceral. They pulse in your veins. They tether your heart to something greater. This intensity is what philosophers call moral seriousness. But it is also why the intelligent soul struggles. For where others shrug at contradiction, you lie awake replaying it. Where others see ideas as tools, you see them as sacred vows. It is both a gift and a burden. To feel concepts is to live with depth. But it also means wounds come not only from people, but from the violation of ideals. It explains why debates ignite you, why hypocrisy unsettles you, why the misuse of a word feels like sacrilege. This bond with ideas is not weakness, it is devotion. You are not entertained by thought, you are transformed by it. And yet, when those ideals are violated, another fire ignites in the intelligent heart, the storm of outrage against injustice. The restless heart of justice. To watch someone cheat, lie, or exploit feels like an earthquake inside you. Others may shrug and say, "That's life." But to you, injustice is not just wrong. It is unbearable. Your jaw tightens, your pulse races, your body feels as if it carries the weight of the entire wrong. And perhaps, in a way, it does. Intelligent souls often carry ethical frameworks so precise, so deeply rooted, that when the world violates them, it feels like the cosmos itself is broken. It is not mere outrage. It is empathy meeting principle. You don't just see rules violated, you feel who is harmed, who suffers silently behind the curtain. And while this can exhaust you, it is also the furnace of reform, the birthplace of progress, the secret fire behind revolutions, both small and grand. Yes, your heart burns when the world betrays its better self. But in that burning lies your gift, the unwillingness to let lies become normal or cruelty become acceptable. Yet even the firebrand must retreat. And so the intelligent soul slips away into silence, not laziness, not avoidance, but the sacred pause where chaos transforms into insight, the sacred pause of silence. There are times when words fail you, when even thoughts become too heavy, too tangled to untie. And so you vanish. You withdraw from the noise, not out of weakness, but because something inside is building. To others, your silence may look like idleness, procrastination, even avoidance. But for the intelligent soul, silence is sacred incubation. It is not absence. It is presence on a deeper frequency. Like seeds buried beneath soil, ideas germinate in darkness. You stare out the window, lost in the stillness, while beneath the surface, your mind constructs cathedrals. This is why great insights often strike in unexpected places. The shower, the long walk, the still moment before sleep. In silence, the mind reorganizes itself, weaving threads of experience into patterns that finally make sense. Silence is not emptiness. It is loading. It is the preparation of truth waiting to emerge. And when it does, when the pause ends, your words arrive like sharpened arrows, your vision like sudden lightning across a dark horizon. Do not fear these phases of retreat. They are not withdrawal from life, but the deepest participation in it. For silence is where thought becomes wisdom, but silence cannot hold forever. When the mind awakens again, it often bursts forth in obsessions, diving headfirst into worlds no one else even notices. Strange obsessions. Have you ever found yourself consumed by something utterly random? The history of a forgotten city, the taxonomy of mushrooms, the grammar of an obscure language. You don't skim, you plunge. While others dabble, you descend into the depths like a diver chasing pearls. This is one of the strangest signs of intelligence. The obsession that appears bizarre, disproportionate, even unnecessary. But it is not random. Obsession is curiosity with a magnifying glass, passion refusing to stay shallow. It is the mind's hunger for depth, for the full anatomy of a thing. Darwin once cataloged barnacles for years, a task most would call madness. But in that madness lay the seeds of revolution in biology. Great innovation is often born not from broad interest, but from focused fixation. So when you fall into a rabbit hole, when your friends tease you for memorizing facts no one asked for, remember, this is your mind sharpening its blade. Obsession is practice and focus is the root of mastery. Yes, it may make you the weird one at parties, but when everyone else forgets, you will be the one holding a treasure of insight. And from obsession grows creation, sometimes in the form of private systems so unusual, they look chaotic to others but hold genius beneath the surface. Private systems. Look at your notes, your journals, your calendars. To others, they seem indecipherable. Color codes, symbols, arrows pointing nowhere, diagrams that look like conspiracy webs. But to you, it is perfect order. This is another quiet mark of intelligence, the compulsion to create private systems of organization. Not because you love neatness, but because the world feels too chaotic, too unstructured. Mainstream tools rarely fit your mind, so you build your own, strange, elaborate, yet profoundly effective. It may appear eccentric, even obsessive, but beneath it lies structural intelligence, the ability to take the raw chaos of reality and bend it into patterns that carry meaning. These systems are scaffolds for thought, personalized architectures of clarity. Some of the most effective people in history rejected generic productivity methods. Instead, they built their own, reflecting not external order, but internal truth. So do not mock your odd color codes or strange categorization. They are not signs of disorder. They are signs of a mind refusing to drown in noise. They are maps of the inner labyrinth, drawn only for you. Yet even with systems, the intelligent soul cannot escape another gift, one that often feels like a curse, the hypersensitivity of the heart. The seismograph soul. You walk into a room and feel the atmosphere before a word is spoken. A clipped tone, a forced smile, a silence too sharp. Your body records it like a seismograph catching tremors beneath the earth. Some call it oversensitivity, but it is, in truth, heightened perception. You notice micro-expressions, tonal shifts, the subtle gaps between words and meaning. It is not imagination. It is fluency in a hidden language most people cannot hear. This makes you an extraordinary observer, a careful friend, a human lie detector. But it also makes life exhausting, because when your radar never turns off, every tension, every hidden sorrow in the room vibrates inside you. What is background noise for others is thunder in your ears. This is why many intelligent souls appear easily overwhelmed. Their nervous systems are finely tuned instruments, a blessing for empathy, a curse for peace. But sensitivity, when balanced, becomes a superpower. It sharpens communication, deepens connection, and allows you to walk through the world awake to truths others sleep through. And when this sensitivity overwhelms, the intelligent often seek refuge in writing, where thoughts and emotions can finally be given shape. Preferring text over talk. The phone rings and you hesitate. A call feels like an ambush, a test you haven't studied for. But writing? Writing feels like home. This is why intelligent souls often prefer the written word. Conversation is fast, fleeting. Words vanish the moment they are spoken. But writing waits. Writing allows space to breathe, to refine, to sculpt a thought until it reflects what the heart truly means. On the page, your ideas no longer slip through your fingers. They settle, they crystallize. Talking is improvisation, writing is architecture. Talking is a storm, writing is the blueprint. And so you dodge calls but send long messages. You struggle in crowds but fill journals with universes. It is not avoidance. It is mastery. It is the desire to honor your thoughts by giving them the time they deserve. This is not shyness. It is design. It is the mind's way of building bridges between chaos and clarity, between emotion and understanding. So next time you feel guilty for preferring text over talk, remember this: you are not hiding. You are building. But beyond writing lies another conversation, one not with others, but with something deeper, something invisible, something that whispers back when logic falls silent. Dialogues with the invisible. There are moments when logic runs out of road. The mind has thought itself in circles, and still, no answer comes. It is here that intelligent souls turn inward, to the invisible. Some call it intuition, others spirit, higher self, or subconscious. Whatever the name, it feels like a quiet voice beneath the noise, a whisper not made of words but of knowing. Intelligent people often converse with this silence, asking questions into the void and receiving answers in symbols, dreams, sudden feelings of clarity. To the outside world, this looks strange. A person talking to nothing, trusting an unseen guide, following impulses that make no rational sense. But often, those nudges prove wiser than reason, because intuition is not opposed to logic. It is logic's older sibling. It gathers more than facts. It gathers patterns, memories, archetypes, the quiet data the conscious mind ignores. To speak with the invisible is not delusion. It is humility. It is the recognition that the mind is vast, that truth is not always linear. Yet even with intuition, the intelligent soul wrestles with a great weight, the restless need for control. The illusion of control, the sharper the mind, the more it seeks to predict, to master, to plan. Intelligent souls often cling tightly to control, rehearsing conversations, designing entire futures in their imagination, trying to make life a machine that obeys their will. But life is not a machine. It is a river, and the more tightly we grasp, the more it slips between our fingers. The paradox is cruel. In chasing control, we lose it. In releasing it, we discover it was never needed. This is one of the hardest lessons for an intelligent heart. Surrender is not weakness. It is wisdom. It is to stop fighting the flow and instead become part of it. When you let go, life begins to carry you in ways the ego never could have engineered. Doors open, synchronicities align, peace returns. Control is the mind's dream, surrender is the soul's reality. And when surrender deepens, another trait awakens, the gift of finding the sacred hidden within the mundane. If this journey is resonating with you, share it with someone close. Often, the greatest gift we can give is not advice, but perspective, an opening in the heart where clarity can enter. Finding meaning in the mundane. For most, washing dishes is a chore. Watching rain is background noise. Walking is just transport. But for the intelligent soul, these small acts become portals. You see the shimmer of eternity in the ordinary. The way soap bubbles reflect universes, the way raindrops echo entire oceans, the way each footstep in silence feels like prayer. This is not romanticism, it is awareness. When the mind is tuned finely enough, no moment is wasted, because every moment is alive with depth. The philosopher can be moved by the sight of a tree. The poet can find meaning in a crack in the wall. The mystic can glimpse the infinite in a single breath. This ability to see meaning everywhere is not detachment from life, but deeper intimacy with it. It transforms the dull into sacred ritual, the routine into reminder. And in a world starved for wonder, this trait is no weakness. It is survival. Yet when the ordinary becomes extraordinary, a new fire rises, the endless questioning of reality itself. Questioning reality. Who am I? What is truth? Why is there something rather than nothing? These are not idle curiosities for the intelligent soul. They are companions, questions that follow you like shadows. While others accept the world as it is, you pull at its seams. You examine its assumptions. You stare at the scaffolding of reality and ask, but why this way and not another? This endless questioning can feel like torment at times, keeping you restless, never satisfied. Yet it is also the mark of the philosopher, the mystic, the innovator. The greatest breakthroughs in thought, in art, in science, were born not from certainty but from holy doubt. To question is to refuse sleep. It is to demand truth even when truth cannot be fully known. And while the questions may never be answered completely, they carve you into someone who sees beyond the veil of appearances. And when at last the questioning falls silent, when the mind grows tired of searching, what remains is the deepest gift of all: peace, from chaos to clarity. After the storm of thoughts, the obsessions, the hypersensitivity, the outsider's gaze, the endless questions, there is a moment when it all falls quiet. You realize you are not your thoughts. You are not your systems, your obsessions, your conversations with the invisible. You are the space in which they all arise. You are the sky, vast and unbroken, while storms of emotion come and go. You are the ocean, infinite, while waves of obsession rise and fall. In this realization, peace arrives, not as an achievement, but as a recognition. Clarity was never missing. It was simply covered by noise. And so the intelligent soul's journey ends where it began, in stillness. The so-called weird traits were never flaws, but doorways. Talking to yourself, empathizing with objects, obsessing, retreating into silence, all of them were invitations. Invitations to see that intelligence is not just about thinking more, but about feeling deeper, seeing clearer, living truer. From chaos to clarity, from noise to silence, from storm to sky. This is your journey, and it has only just begun. If this journey spoke to you, subscribe, so that together we may keep walking the path of inner truth. Share this with the ones who need it most, for the greatest awakening often begins with a single whisper. Are some practical ways to apply these teachings? 1. Speak aloud when overwhelmed. Talking to yourself helps untangle thoughts and reduces inner chaos. 2. Treat objects with respect. Naming or caring for things builds empathy and reminds you of the sacred in the ordinary. 3. Journal your outsider insights. Write what you notice from the edges. These often hold truths others miss. 4. Honor your obsessions. Let yourself dive deeply. They may lead to mastery or innovation. 5. Build private systems. Don't force yourself into generic methods. Craft personal tools that match your mind. 6. Schedule silence. Make space daily for stillness. This is where ideas ripen. 7. Choose writing when you need clarity. A written message can express what a rushed conversation cannot. 8. Use sensitivity as connection. Notice micro-signals in people and respond with compassion. It builds trust. 9. Surrender control regularly. Practice letting life flow without forcing outcomes. Peace grows here. 10. Seek the sacred in the mundane. Turn daily acts, walking, cooking, cleaning, into mindful rituals. They root you in presence. Each of these is small, but together they transform how intelligence expresses itself. They turn strange traits into living practices that guide you from confusion into clarity, from heaviness into peace.